Welcome to the Rich Report, a podcast with news and information on high-performance computing. Today, my guest is from Abiquo. We have Pete Malcolm, who's the CEO. And welcome to the show, Pete.
Hi, thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Abiquo, of course, kind of comes from HPC space. You guys had roots in grid computing, but I wanted to start right at the beginning. Who is Abiquo, and who do you help?
Well, as you say, we did originally start in the grid computing area, but rapidly transitioned into the area we are now, which is infrastructure as a service management. We're allowing our customers to build and manage virtualized environments that are like, for example, private clouds, but also extend into the public cloud arena, so that you can have an overall management framework which decides and allows you to manage your applications, your virtualized environments, both globally from multiple different data centers and multiple sources, so you can choose whether you want to encompass public cloud, private cloud, and we'll orchestrate all of your users in there, allow them to have a full self-service management of the environment, but with the total control that organizations need to make sure all of that happens in a proper manner. So considering all the security, governance, compliance, utilization, all of those pieces of the puzzle as well.
So Pete, I'm looking at your slide here with the spaceship, or the snow globe, as it were, right? So your site talks about a vision of a virtualized infrastructure management. What do you guys mean by that?
Well, we're taking the pool of physical resources that you have, which is represented by that gray ring around the outside of the diagram, which is showing all of the physical resource that you have that is being brought into the resource cloud that you see there. So all of those, from your compute, your storage, your networking, from physical data centers around the world that you may have, all contributes to that resource cloud layer. And then on the other side, we're allowing you to create virtual enterprises which are completely autonomous units, each able to manage its users and its usage of those resources within resource limits that have been set. So I create an enterprise, I allocated a certain amount of resource in terms of virtual CPUs and memory and storage and networking, all of those things. And then I appoint someone to be the first administrator of that, and they can then completely take over the management of that particular enterprise, and they can even sub-delegate that and create sub-units, virtual data centers, if you like, below that, and have those delegated as well. And we tie all this together with business policy, and business policy is what determines how the virtual world maps to the physical world, and that's a completely automated process and allows you to deal with all the security, compliance, governance, utilization, association, reservation, all those sorts of things. So it's a complete management environment aimed principally at enterprise class customers.
So looking at the inner ring of that diagram, Pete, what do you guys mean by a virtual enterprise?
So a virtual enterprise is this self-service autonomous unit, which is it's a consumer of those cloud resources. So the gray ring around the outside is contributing physical resource into that cloud, and then the virtual enterprises are consuming it. And a virtual enterprise is just a logical unit which would comprise of resources, a certain amount of resource that's been allocated to you, and users who are going to actually manage that, who are going to be allowed to launch virtual resources so they can build virtual appliances, launch virtual machines, create storage volumes, create virtual networks. So they're able to do that in a completely self-service manner. So it's total enablement for those guys. It means you can provision things in seconds rather than waiting for your IT organization to do it for you. They're really a virtual enterprise is a very powerful unit. You can almost think of it as being your own physical data center, sort of sat in front of you with all the hardware that you can connect together however you want. But you can build firewalls, you can build load balancers, you can, have web servers, any kind of application server that you want, and you can string it together however you want and serve it out however you want. So it's a complete compute environment that you can operate yourself, but without having to manage any of the physical hardware.
Sure, that helps. And then, Pete, there's obviously a lot of types of hypervisors out there. How does Abiquo avoid dependence on any one type of hypervisor?
Well, this was a very important consideration when we designed the product, and we designed it very strategically. Unlike many solutions which started with a particular hypervisor, we didn't do that. We thought about how can we in fact be completely hypervisor independent and agnostic from the start. So Abiquo was designed in such a way that we could plug in any hypervisor into it, and today we support all 6 of the major hypervisors: VMware, Hyper-V, Zen Server, Zen Community, VirtualBox, and KVM are all supported, and they're all supported simultaneously. So you can create virtual machines in any of, intended for any of those environments, and have them supported all within the same system. And more than that, you can actually convert virtual machines from any of those hypervisor types to any other. So if I want to, move from my virtual machine from a VMware hypervisor to a Hyper-V one, I can do that in a single drag and drop operation, and it just takes a few seconds. Similarly, if I'm an enterprise, the open source hypervisors are often used in a pre-production mode. But when I want to actually move it up to production on, say, VMware, again, it's a simple drag and drop operation to convert that, and I just can then immediately launch that VM. So very powerful, and something that's very attractive to our customers.
Well, thanks, Pete. I guess just as kind of a wrap-up question, I'm thinking about how people work with this model. At a high level, how would customers and partners work with your what they call the Cloud Operator API?
Well, first of all, we should point out that we have a very rich user interface that allows you to do all of this functionality, in a very easy to use visual manner. And I've talked about drag and drop and things like that. But everything that you can do in the user interface, you can also do through an API. We'll often have customers that do various parts of this through the API. So our hosting provider customers would be a good example, where they can, for example, actually let you go to their site live on the web and purchase your own virtual enterprise. And you can go and adjust sliders to decide how much RAM and CPU and all those sorts of things you want in your enterprise, and you can see what the cost of that is going to be immediately as you adjust the sliders. Then when you've got it set how you want, you hit the provision button, and underneath the APIs, our APIs will be called, and that virtual enterprise will be provisioned for you, and then you'll be emailed access credentials to start to use it right away. So you can literally go out to one of our partners on the net. You can purchase your virtual enterprise and be using it in under 5 minutes, and that again is pretty powerful stuff. That's just one example about how you might use our APIs.
That sounds terrific. Well, I guess just to wrap things up here, Pete, how are customers responding to this stuff once they get to try it out?
Well, that's the great thing about our solution is once you see it, you realize how powerful it is, and that's one of the reasons our business is growing very fast at the moment. We, for example, trebled our business between Q1 and Q2 this year. And we have both enterprise customers and hosting provider customers. And I think the real trend we've seen this year is whilst our hosting provider customers are increasing, the enterprises are growing at a very rapid rate. And that's what was responsible for that really large growth level. So we're seeing, increasing adoption. Of course, everybody knows that this is an early market, but people are very rapidly seeing the advantages of a solution like ours, and we're lucky to be winning most of the proof of concepts that go on in the market. We're successfully winning those, and our solution is getting broadly adopted.
Well, great. Well, Pete Malcolm, CEO of Abiquo, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Okay, folks, that's it for this issue of the Rich Report. Stay tuned for more news and information on high performance computing.